There we are. We are live with our second Pride interview. I'm so happy and excited for this discussion today. I am Ashley, or you can call me Miss Ash Rocks. I am Tiltify's community manager. I go by she, her pronouns. And I'm so excited. We have Lucille, a creator, and we have Andrew from Black and Pink, and we have Matthew from Tiltify. So I wanted to throw the introduction line to Matthew.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ash. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew. I'm one of the charity success managers here at Tiltify. I'm also a drag queen content creator as well on the side. You might know me as Sierra, but I'm really excited to have this conversation today. Oh, and also my pronouns are he, they. Thank you.
Perfect. And Lucille, tell us a little bit about yourself and your path as a creator on Twitch and everything you've done.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lucille. I am a drag performer from Boston, Massachusetts. My pronouns are she, her in drag, and they, them out of drag. You can use either one for me. We always pretend I'm in a full length ball gown at any given time. We don't never say anything different. Yeah, I've been a drag performer for coming up on 10 years. So I've been doing drag for years. I've done it professionally around Boston, various gigs, shows, hosting, and stuff like that. Few years ago, I started doing Twitch stuff, not swapped over, but in addition to, started doing drag here on Twitch. It's been a lot of fun. Starting, at the start of the pandemic, it was like, what do we do about these drag shows, and we started doing virtual shows. Which have been really, really awesome. We've raised, I think I did the math, it was over $18,000 since last June for various causes through virtual drag, which is really amazing. It's a lot of, incredibly talented creators who create numbers and videos and, share their audiences. It's a really cool way to it's the same idea as like a in-person show where you're bringing everyone together and, you get to all experience drag and like art and things like that and get together. Aside from that, I stream a lot of other stuff, makeup stuff. We streamed earlier today, just getting in face for this. Sometimes, I don't know, various games. I'm not very good at anything, but I have a good time doing it. So,
And that's all that
so
matters.
exactly.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Lucille. We're so happy to have you here. And
Yeah.
Andrew from Black and Pink, how are you today? How are you?
Great. I'm
Good.
so happy to be
So
here.
happy to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Black and Pink and what Black and Pink
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. My name's Andrew Aliman. I am the Deputy Director of People Power and National Partnerships for Black and Pink National. We are a national abolitionist organization, so really believe in investing in people and investing in communities and focusing on other alternatives to the carceral system. And our work really is focused on liberating LGBTQIA2S plus system impacted individuals, as well as system impacted individuals living with HIV/AIDS. We're located, our primary location, our home base is here in Omaha, Nebraska. Originally Boston, but we moved to Omaha, Nebraska a few years ago. We are a national organization. We have 11 chapters across the country. And so there's amazing work being done in communities across the US. So that's really exciting. So my role is I support our advocacy team and our programs team, which does all of the direct service, helping folks get connected to work and housing, leadership opportunities. Um, and then that advocacy program really just focuses on that inside member support, which is really our inside member programs is really the pinnacle of what Black and Pink has done since 2005, and really supporting our inside members. We often forget about our inside members when we talk about LGBTQIA issues or spaces. So I'm glad to be able to bring them to the front and say that we also see them and we're here for them as well.
That is beautiful. That just made my heart full. And Andrew, how long have you been at Black and Pink?
Yeah, I actually started Black and Pink in March of last year. So
Wow.
right in the middle of the pandemic, or right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so it was uh, wild. It's been an experience for sure. especially just being a queer Black person who's also system impacted, by way of my family being impacted by the carceral system. And it's always interesting to see your own people really like struggling. And it's also the beauty of my work is that I get to support people that hold identities that I hold, that have experienced some of the same things that I've experienced. And so it's really exciting to be able to do that work and be in community all the time in the work. But it also was wild to start at the beginning of the pandemic.
I bet that definitely impacted Black and Pink's efforts. Well, it's very unfortunate, but now we're getting to a better place in our world, and we can have those in-person events and
Yes, I can't
yeah,
wait.
especially for Pride. I wanted to do the Pride parades.
I
I
know.
wanted to be my first one, and I was ready. I have my Pride nails. It's
Yes.
okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we
We're getting
we
there.
opened we opened up a home last year called Light and House. And we had all these plans of all these community things to do and
Mhm.
connecting and yeah, shifted, but we're excited to have those coming up,
Yeah,
this year.
that's great. So, Matthew, do you want to start us off with our topics today?
Yeah, I would love to hear just a little bit more about kind of what the main initiatives for Black and Pink are, especially how they've been impacted by the COVID pandemic as well, and what has changed for the organization. I think would be really, really fantastic to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as hopefully many people know, and if you didn't, you'll know now, especially when we look at the intersections of Black trans women, we really look at disproportionate impacts in the carceral system, whether that is inside carceral systems like prisons, jails, even like child welfare. And ICE detention centers. Um, we look at disproportionate experiences, even in communities, arrests, all of those things. And so during the pandemic, that was exacerbated, especially when we look at a higher rate of homelessness. And we know that queer and trans communities represent a high percentage of folks navigating houselessness. And so during the pandemic, we experienced a huge influx of people needing support across the nation, and we're able to give out about $200,000 of support for community members across the country for COVID relief, to help with housing, help with supplementing losing jobs, all of those sort of things. And that really comes out of our REAP programming, which really is just focus on helping people center their best lived experiences as they see it, living their lives in the way that they see as successful, and really not trying to put our own view on how their lives should look. And so that's something that's really important to us at Black and Pink. Um, a really exciting initiative that we are moving into is opening up Opportunity Campus. And Opportunity Campus is focused on LGBTQIA2S plus young folks who are impacted by the carceral system. And it'll be open in Omaha, Nebraska. We are purchasing a massive, massive building. It's wild. Every time I walk in there, I'm like, it gets bigger every time. But it's attached to a housing unit. So we're going to be able to provide, 10 to 12 young people with housing. And attached to that, we'll be able to have a drop-in center where folks that are in the community that need support, families that are system impacted, can also receive services and support, educational opportunities for young people. And so I know we're just really excited to move into this space of realizing that we also have to think about the upcoming generation, really how are the young people in our communities impacted by these carceral systems, or how are they impacted by their families being impacted. And so that's something that you go to our website, blackandpink.org, you'll be able to support and find more information about. But it's it's amazing to think about what would have looked different in the lives of, you know, some of us that are doing this work if we had a space where we could just go and be our authentic selves. And so we want to make sure that there's virtual initiatives that are also coming out of this. And that our first one actually will be in July with Maven Youth. So we're really excited to move into the space of supporting young people and really investing in the future. So that, I would say, that is a huge thing that we are moving into right now. That is exciting. It's big and new, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds incredible.
So you're starting off, you said, with 12 people in the open.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a plan of after, or is there like a time limit that those people will stay in the housing, or can you go more into detail about that?
Yeah, I would love to. So the first home that we opened up was called is called Leiden House, named after Jason Leiden, who is the founder of Black and Pink. And we opened a home focusing on system impacted individuals that are LGBTQIA2S plus, and that has 3 spaces for folks, and we will open up other homes in the future in different spaces as well. But we realized we needed a space for young people to not only be able to live, but even folks in the community to just be, to be able to learn, to connect with other opportunities like employment and you know, educational opportunities. And so in our venture, we happened to find this space that fit all of that. It's a old church building that we will be converting into our own space and making our own. And it's attached to a housing unit. And so there's going to be 12 different housing units for young folks, 19 to 24. And then attached to it is a large church that we will convert into a drop-in space and meeting space and programming space and a community meeting space. And that will really focus on youth 13 and 13 to 24. And we really want to be able to connect them to whatever they feel like they need for their future. So that could be, you know, I need help getting into college. It could be, I need help learning how to navigate finances because nobody ever taught me that, but I'm 16 and taking care of myself. And so we've connected with different folks in our community to even be able to offer some art and music related classes, not just focused on those everyday living things, but really just thriving. Like the focus is thriving. How do we ensure that their whole health all around is something that can be as they want it to be? And you know, so that includes in health initiatives as well, such as learning about access to hormone therapies if they want, or mental health services. We have a health provider on staff currently. So yeah, it's a massive campus that really centers and celebrates, honestly, the lives and the experiences of system impacted young people who are living with HIV or are LGBTQI2S plus.
That is beautiful.
And we'd love for you to come to Omaha and come see it sometime when we get up and running. It's going to be amazing.
Sounds
When
incredible.
do you think it will be up and running?
So currently my hope, if all things go well, by the end of this year, we'll be able to have the housing portion open. The programming space and the drop-in space will take some time and some construction. So sometime next year, probably this time next year, we'll be able to have a space to just chill and be themselves. You can see some pictures online if you go to our website, and there's a link that talks about Opportunity Campus, and there's some some dream mock-ups of what that space is to embody, and what we're hoping to create and vibrant and celebratory space.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was a
Yeah.
lot of helpful information,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
I learned a lot in just a span of a couple minutes. I love
Couple
that.
minutes.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lucille, my darling, you just look so
I
great
feel like
today.
I can't even go after that. That's amazing stuff. Really amazing work. I'm like, okay, I'm coming to Omaha. Great. When's my booking my travel? I'll
Yes,
be
let's all
there.
book a
I'll
flight
be
right
there.
now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm ready. No, that's amazing. That's amazing stuff. Sorry. I'm like still like I'm like I have wow.
Taking notes, yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, really incredible. Really incredible stuff. So we'll have to do
Going.
we'll do a drag show for. I will do we'll do a virtual show
Yes.
in the future. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll have
oh,
to. We'll
let's
have
talk about that.
to.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
talk
Be
let's do it.
about
fun.
Let's do
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Lucille, let's get to know you a little bit more and talk about how long you've been doing drag, and you can
Uh,
talk about your experience as a youth as well, since Black and Pink is working to support LGBT youth. Did you have that support when you were younger, or?
so it's interesting. My family, I am very, very blessed to have very supportive parents. And my siblings have been very supportive. Outside my immediate family, not so much, but that's fine. In my house, I was very lucky to have that. And I came out at a very young age. I was in 7th grade. I came out as queer. But one of the things that I think was interesting was resources as a young queer person. I think even between this was, I don't know, 15 years ago, but the difference between now and then in terms of two like spaces for this kind of thing, I remember there was like one tiny little group, but it wasn't like a convenient time, and that was it, and resources in terms of like queer media, what that looked like. There were some books, but it was very much like, the football star is gay and finds love, and it was like, that wasn't me. Those weren't my stories, and it was a lot of like figuring out, like, I grew up in Maine, so very, we were in a populated part of Maine, but not a ton of, resources in the same way that like a city does, that a city has. So it was, I felt supported in a way, I was very lucky to have that.
Mhm.
But it was like, I didn't know what drag was, I had no access to that, like it didn't, I mean, it's in Portland somewhere, but like, if you're not there in a city, it's not something you see, like understanding like gender identity and stuff like that. And I know it's something that like, outside of the queer stuff, I know how, this sort of thing can really impact kids. I had kids whose parents were, not around because they were, incarcerated. And I know that it has such an impact. Add on, being queer, being Black, being, a trans woman, and how that sort of compounds that is really like, so this is why I was like, this is really, really amazing stuff, and I know like sort of the impact of that. So it's sort of one of these things that I'm like, with people that I knew, I wish there were, I know like about things like this, and uplifting. So it was, I don't know. I mean, I truly like, I was gay as heck. And I I don't know, I almost said, I was always in dresses and things like that. So I would like to say like I started drag like the moment I was born. But I started doing drag about 10 years ago. We're coming up on 10 years. And I'd always done like costumes and characters and stuff like that. Actually, the very first time was in middle school, 7th grade. I had just come out, and there was a Hollywood dance at school, and I had just started watching. Somebody gifted us the I Love Lucy like season 1, and I had like bought the rest of them like on DVD, and I wanted to go as Lucille Ball for this Hollywood dance, and so like I got all done up. I had somebody help me sort of find a dress and stuff like that, and I had a great time. And so years later, when I started, sort of doing drag, I went to like my first, it was like a drag bingo. I like got done up and showed up, and they were like, "What's your name?" And I was like, Lucille, because I was like, I'll be Lucille Ball, and then it stuck, and that's that from there. I never came up with a last name. I never came up with a pun, wordplay. That's beyond me. So I was like, one word, Cher can do it. Madonna can do it. Lucille can do it, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so I started doing that. I mean, I was a beginning drag queen, you know, and I was not even 21 yet. Like I think I was 18 years old. Like I was not going out to venues or anything like that yet. So I'd put on little shows, you know, like at my college, I would like, again, there were not a ton of performers that I was like, I'm going to put on a show. And I booked like a tiny conference room, and we had like a projector and like somebody's speaker that they set up. Like it was small stuff like that, but it was sort of, you know, the first, like I loved doing that and putting people together, you know. Charity has always been a big part of drag work, and activism is always really forefront, you know, at the forefront of this. And so it's something that, like, you know, as I began performing other places and, you know, finally could go out to venues and stuff like that, charity shows are a big part of drag culture. And so, you know, we've done a lot of stuff in Boston. There are some, you know, other orgs and stuff that do like for homeless LGBTQ youth. And so I know like a same sort of thing, like a drop-in center. And we've done like some fun drag brunches and stuff where it's like there's like drag performers like hanging out the window and you're like, come inside, give us $20, you know, like that kind of thing. And you know, and that was a lot of it and how it sort of worked. You know, it is a very different beast, I would say, on Twitch versus in person. In person, there's a lot of like, you know, pay the fee at the front, we'll let you in, like we'll let you through this door, and then you can party with us and hang out and do whatever you want to do. We'll put on a show, we'll do numbers, you know. Twitch is amazing because it's so open and access to people all over the world, but there's not a door where you can be like, give me $20 for charity, you know, like you can't you can't like muscle it out of people as they enter in, you know. But so it was sort of finding ways to, you know, through things like using Tiltify. I mean, I've only ever used that, you know, and being able to like give someone a link where you can go there. I love like being able to see like things pop up and like, you know, be like, look, this is what's happening, like watch it happen live, versus like, again, it was like literally like a bucket with like dollar bills in it for everyone. And then at the end of the night, like you'd sit there and like count out these like beer stained dollar bills and be like, yes, we raised money. You know, it's a very different experience, but it's really amazing. And one of the, like, I love being able to you know, sort of use the platform to connect to things that are really important, you know. So orgs we always work with, always orgs for marginalized people. So, you know, we've done a lot of things for like the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition, you know, particularly members of the queer community who are marginalized, which is, you know, Black trans women for the, you know, and Black trans people who are oftentimes hit with like a triple whammy of all kinds of things. So, you know, when looking at organizations and stuff for this as well, like Black and Pink, like that matches that, you know, so closely. And, you know, I loved, you know, hearing, I mean, I even just hearing now some of the initiatives and stuff, you know, really amazing stuff. You know, drop-in programs like that are so essential, you know, at such a critical time in people's lives, you know. And like you said, you know, oftentimes when we sort of talk about the queer community, there's a whole portion of people that are often forgotten about, you know. And unfortunately, like, incarceration is a part of queer history, you know. The Stonewall riots happened because it was illegal to, you know, be queer in public, and people were being arrested and charged with crimes. I mean, you know, like, not to get inappropriate, but like literally, like, there were laws against, you know, having physical relations with other people of the same, you know, the same gender. There are laws right now in this country against being trans, you know. And so queer identities being criminalized in the same way that we're seeing, you know, Black identities being criminalized, you know, and the increased violence and the way that, you know, medical care. I mean, this is a big conversation when talking about like politicians and stuff, like, who have had, you know, roles as prosecutors and things like that, fighting against, you know, or vetoing medical care for trans people in, you know, in prison, is saying like that's not an essential medical cost, you know. And the way that marginalized people are sort of taken away. I'm sure you can talk way better than I can. Like, I'm not this is why it was really, I was like, this is really, really, really important. And I think it is truly an amazing program. I think it is really really important work that's happening, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about it, to know about it. I mean, I'm literally like my roommate like was watching and texted me. I was like, we have to like find a way, like we'll donate, and I have to tell people about it, you know. So we're already like, I like saw it going here. She was like, we have to tell people. So really, really excited. Yeah. So
Well, I just love, we're so honored, Black Pink, we feel so honored to be a part of, Unified for Pride, just really thinking about, as you were just talking about, Lucille, and as we've said a couple times, of folks that we don't think about, or even identities that we don't highlight. So we already know a lot of our queer and trans siblings and family are system impacted. That's just not an identity of theirs that we celebrate or support or recognize or see. And so I love this unintentional, like, we want to focus on this and be a part of this. And there was something that you had said, Lucille, just really thinking about um, essential, what we decide is essential. And when I was a therapist, I was working with a young trans man, and like 18, 19, or 18, was in the child welfare system. And I will just never forget him telling me, I'm so tired of having to prove to everybody that I am who I am. Because he was trying to get the system to pay for hormone therapy, but they wanted him to jump through all these hoops to prove that he was who he was, and still continue to fight. And I think that that's what all of this about. That's what I love about even drag, of folks are able to just express themselves in a way that feels so authentic and true to themselves. And so that representation is so important. And so I always go back to that quote of, I'm just so tired of having to prove to people that I am who I am. And so that's why we're here. But that's also why I love that the drag community continues to thrive, because it also is such a perfect representation of just celebrating yourself and the way that you want to share and represent who you are, or parts of who you are.
yeah, and the idea of, I think drag goes so well with charity is because drag is very loud, it's big, and it's costumes, and it's makeup, and it's things like that. And so naturally, like, it's, hello, we're on stage, like, look at us. And so that's sort of the chance to be like, okay, now look over there, like, not in a distracting way, not in the like drag, but like literally, like, look over there and pay attention to that. Like, this is, I'm gonna like yell about this, and I have a very loud voice. Like, I'll yell about it, like, I'll be loud, I'll be on that microphone, and we're gonna do it, and I think that's really, really great to be able to do that. And I think it's something, I mean, the people at the Stonewall riots were drag performers. Drag performers have been a part of, queer liberation movements, and, at the forefront of, like, trans rights, and, like, the right for healthcare and things like that. Like, drag performers have been a part of that, and I think it is important to know that, like, if I want to be a part of the drag community, this is sort of an obligation, of, this is part of the fun of getting to live as a celebrity, is you also have a responsibility, and you have a responsibility to be doing something with it, So yeah, it really, really, it's, and it is, like you had said, like, about, like, I don't know, expressing things, learning about yourself. I mean, it's, people who are drag performers are not necessarily trans, and people who are trans are not necessarily drag performers, but there's a lot of intersection. There are a lot of drag performers who are trans, and there's a lot that goes hand in hand with that. And I think it's like a really great way to sort of take gender. I always say it's like gender, as a performance piece, and it's taking gender and the ideas of gender roles, and, these, I mean, I have like the people on the wall behind me, like these people as sort of like the epitome of like gender presentation and things like that, and turning it into performance and things like that. So it's been really, for me, I'm non-binary, out of drag, use they them pronouns, and it was really drag was a big part of sort of getting to understand that, and to create these characters on stage. You don't have to commit to anything yet. You're just performing, you're doing this, and you can start to learn, like, and it was a lot of things, like for me as a non-binary person, it was realizing, like, you know, there was a lot of comments and stuff about, like, oh, why you do makeup so well for a boy, and it was like,
Wow.
I like do my makeup because I worked hard on it, like
Right.
they're like, wow, you do matter makeup better than me, and I'm a girl. And I'm like, my gender, I didn't want it to play into the work that I had done, and the things that I had done. Like, it was not my gender that taught me how to do makeup, like, I don't know, there's a lot of pieces there, and I wanted to have my identity, you know not be focused around that. And it felt like drag is very different than who I am out of drag,
Mhm.
but these aren't, the costumes, the makeup pieces, and the things like that. I don't know. Anyways, that's like a long journey, but
No, I love that because, we even have somebody who lives in our home who just needed a safe, affirming place to live where they could be celebrated. And then through that, started to explore what does performing look like for them? What does it look like for them to engage in the drag community, and has found a whole new community and a whole new family out of that growth of just really having that supportive space. And it's all the things you've said of just being able to navigate, like, what is like doing my makeup, what is like, creating content, because it is uh, a form of art and creation as well. And
yeah.
um, yeah, I love that.
Well, and we know that, I mean, there's research on it. We know that the arts are very important to development, to, you know, growing as a person, to,
Hmm.
they are essential, to being human beings. I mean, everything around us connects back into the arts in a lot of way. And drag is just another form of, art. It's performance, it's makeup, it's design, it's costumes, it's things like that. And it is in this, just like, it's really important that, we have access to things like music and museums and, sort of the typical like art in that way. It is just another form of art, and it's one that has a really cool queer history, and I think it's really important for connecting in with queer history and stuff like that. So I think that's awesome, to be able to explore that and have a place to do it. And again, there are not a lot of places where you can do that. I mean, the number of performers that I know who can't do that. I had a friend who would perform with me. What she would do is she had it all in the trunk of her car, and she would
Hmm.
get in the car. She would drive a few blocks down. She would sit in her car. She'd take everything out of the back where she'd hidden it. She'd do her makeup and everything. She'd get dressed in the front seat of her car and then drive to the club, go ahead, perform, go out and about, and then come back home, stop a few blocks away from home, take it all off, make sure everything was hidden away, put it back into a box, and then go inside. And um, that's the reality for so many people. And so having, again, spaces where you can do that, where you can be like, this is something I'm passionate about, this is performance that makes me feel good, this is art that's really important, like I love being a part of this and meeting these people in this culture. It would be like being, I mean, it's feels like it's like the, Footloose town where it's like dancing is illegal, like, but it is like, it's an art form that I think it's really essential for people to have a place where they can explore that and try it out and be exposed to it, so
Yeah. And I think that's why at Black and Pink we have such a housing first and just community first model, because when people are in spaces where they can celebrate themselves and feel comfortable exploring and celebrating who they are, um, they're able to focus on those pieces more than what are my basic needs. If those basic needs can be met and you feel like you're in a warm space that really loves you as you show up on that day, in that moment, then you can explore that art, and you can, because like you said, art really opens the door to so many different careers and forms of thinking and educational paths, or like I said, career paths, all of those sort of things. It's purely tied into just success and well-being and all of those things. And so that housing first, and then just like support, like just really wrapping somebody around community and love, and who do you call, number of calls or texts that I'll get for random things of like, I don't know what I should wear to this job interview, or can you uh I have some like questions. Can you listen to my questions first and make sure that they aren't silly questions? Or where do I even go to get something for a job interview? Like, what do you wear? What do you do? Or, all those sorts of things. Just those expressions of self are such a beautiful thing that comes from that sort of focus and model. And I completely agree with you on that.
Just to kind of like tie it all
Sorry, we
together,
were just having a little side chat here.
No, like that's why we're here.
This is beautiful. Thank you so much.
But I mean, there's so many things that Lucille was saying, about, the necessity of kind of arts and culture and music and these kinds of things. And that's why I think it's fantastic, Andrew, when you're talking about, Opportunity Campus and providing space for those sorts of things, not just meeting those basic needs, but to grow past that as well. And so I think that's a great way to kind of ask, how do the funds that go to Black and Pink, what does that directly support, and how is that going to be kind of helping those people that you're specifically trying to work with?
Yeah, thank you. So the funds that we raise for Black and Pink go directly to the community that we serve. As I mentioned, queer and trans, LGBTQIA2S plus folks, and individuals living with HIV/AIDS that are also system impacted. And there's a variety of things that we help support. Anything from, I need to get help with IDs, and having somebody help me navigate the process of getting my name changed. And what people don't realize, all that stuff comes with a cost, and all of the new materials you have to get. So helping people from that all the way to, I don't have housing and I need a temporary, maybe hotel space to stay in, while we're trying to focus on navigating what does a permanent option look like? What does, thriving in a safe community look like? And, we are a national organization. So we, our support service team is helping people who don't even live in the same spaces that they live in. And so it's constantly working to find those resources and get people connected to those, but also helping them ensure that they have access to their basic needs during that. So food. One of the things that we're really excited and proud to be able to offer is free and donation-based therapy, specifically right now in Nebraska because of licensure pieces, but we are working to build and expand that network of mental health providers that can provide that support for the folks that we serve at a free or donation-based cost, because access to good healthcare is challenging and difficult. And even when you do have that, the money that you have is often going to your basic needs, and to pay for, deductibles or different things like that can be really pricey and expensive for folks. So, we help folks get access to jobs. So if there's certificate programs that we can help people pay for, that will put them a step ahead in their search for employment, we'll do that. We've paid for all sorts of different certificate programs, and that's something that we're really building on nationally to give them the skills and resources and tools to be able to be in careers that they want to be in. And then everything that we've talked about before when it comes to being able to identify in the way that and present myself in a way that I want. So whether that's through hormone therapy or just access to a doctor, also medical care around living with HIV/AIDS, and how do I navigate those conversations and relationships. And so I think we really ensure that whatever folks need to be able to get to that next point in their life, and really steer themselves in a direction that is meeting their goals and the future that they see for themselves. We want to try to take away those barriers as much as possible, to help with that. So if it's transportation to a job, like we'll navigate it, we'll figure it out. The money goes to all of those, really knocking down those barriers, so that they're not in a position where they can be further exploited by the carceral system, and can continue to thrive in the way that they see fit.
I love that. And I know that just you all answered questions already. Wow, this is so much information. I love it. I wanted to, I know this is kind of weird, but not really. Where does black and pink stem from? The meaning of the name of the organization. Where does black and pink? How did that come about? You know that, Andrew.
Yeah, so I think the history of Black and Pink really settled with Jason Leiden when he started the organization, and really looking at the pink really representing just trans and queer identities, and the Black flag really coming from that anarchy and power of queer politics, and really thinking about what does it look like for us to give power back to the people. We are an organization that's based very much in shifting that power to the folks that are most impacted. Some of the biggest supports that we have as an organization come from the people we serve. And so we're always trying to ensure that power really sits in community, that power really sits in navigating how do I navigate even my own harm, right? Of when harm is done to me, I don't want the carceral system to take over what that looks like. I want to be able to have a say in what this process looks like. And so that's where that piece really comes from, and it is kind of focused in as well.
I love that. Every time I look at a name, I'm like, ooh, how did they come with that? And then
What
I
is that?
analyze it and I break it all down. I'm like, let me ask, because black and pink
Right.
is so cute and that's my favorite colors.
Yes. Well, and they look great
Yes, they
together.
pop. They pop. They belong together.
I know. I planned. I
No,
was like, I gotta
absolutely.
wear black hair. Gotta wear all pink jewelry. I was
There
like,
you
black and pink.
go.
That's what we're doing. We'll do it.
Yes, I think we did good on the black and pink. We didn't even call each other first, so.
Yeah. I mean, we planned this out for weeks.
Yes.
Little selfies back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing?
What are you wearing? Well, we almost showed up in the exact same dress, but we went and we got to change.
I had to switch out real fast.
Yeah,
because I was like, girl, I'll let you have
Can't
it.
do that. Yeah.
You're the content creator, so I don't want to, mess up your mojo here.
We'll match. We'll do a duet. What do you know? Quick! What are we gonna do? Lady Marmalade. That's what the end of every drag show. Everyone knows that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll include you next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You left me out.
We'll add you to that chat.
Beautiful.
I think there is one thing that I didn't mention that I just thought of is really another way that, people are always asking, like, how can I get involved? How can I support? And one of the biggest things is money. Like, we are constantly, spending money to support the people that that are in our communities. But also, as I mentioned, one of the biggest programs of Black and Pink is our Pen Pal program, or is our inside member support programs. And a part of that is the Pen Pal program. And for some people, especially queer and trans folks, they may not have people in the community that are connecting to them often. And it just depends on what their experiences are with their families or their loved ones. But oftentimes, not oftentimes, quite often, we get letters from, folks inside that want to be connected to people that share experiences with them, or just anyone. Sometimes it's like, I just want somebody to be able to write to. And that helps me get through my day. And so if you go on our website, you can sign up to be a part of our Pen Pal program. And we provide different supports of like, how do you navigate relationships and things like that if you've never been a pen pal before. But really it's just that support and community building. Once again, I said that we're focused on wrapping people around with support and care. And that is one of the best ways that we can do that, to ensure our inside members know that we haven't forgotten about them, and that they're very much a part of our community, regardless of where they are in the carceral system. So I encourage you to go on the website and look that up, where you can also find support for, or find information about Opportunity Campus and history of Black and Pink, and where our chapters are, all sorts of things. So.
Thank you so much, because I wanted to learn a little bit about the pen pal system and how that
Yeah.
works. I love that. I love that, because the LGBT community, we really need support. It really needs support, and we need to discuss and chat. And we need to have people that we can talk to about anything or how we're feeling. So I love
Right.
that. I thank you so much for touching on that. And
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about, is Black and Pink planning anything for Unify for Pride for the rest of the month, or any
Yeah,
events?
so we will have some different, there's a Juneteenth, panel that will be, the Dominique will be participating in, which is really exciting. Dominique Morgan's our executive director. We are a Black trans-led organization, very proudly, unapologetically. And so she will be doing that. Also, there will be some other lives with folks that are providing services that are to queer and trans communities in other areas. So for example, we have a connection with an organization called Road, which provides support for trans and gender nonconforming folks in Uganda and surrounding spaces. And so really just to think about what does community look like, and really expanding that thought of what community is for us. So we'll have some of that. We always have all sorts of random social media things that are popping up, and so there'll be different ways to engage with us and connect. And we're always trying to add educational opportunities for the folks that are navigating abolition for the first time. And what is abolition in regards to a queer and trans experience look like as well. And as Lucille pointed out, that it really started at, around the time of Stonewall, and what really has always been about abolition and really supporting yourself. So just other ways that we can bring information around the history of queer and trans experiences, and connecting that with abolition, or connecting that with being your authentic self despite various systems, we will do that. And so there'll be some of that online. And then we're always just trying to raise awareness and support for Opportunity Campus. So while it's not in June, we are posting about it a lot this month, but July will be that Maven Youth Partnership, where it's a virtual camp and we're going to be hosting a virtual camp, a virtual tech camp for system impacted LGBTQI youth in July, and it's free. We're actually going to provide a stipend for the folks that attend. And so that information will be online as well. So really just gearing up for Opportunity Campus to be it's really amazing, dope space, virtual and in person. And so you'll see more of that this month too. So just connecting with who we are, our mission, and all of that. And just really thankful and excited to be a part of Unified for Pride among so many amazing queer and trans serving organizations.
I just want to say too, this is really, you know, important things to have community, things like that, you know, because what's interesting about the queer community is that it is a cultural group that is not like in the same, I mean, it's biological that you're queer, but not in the same way where you're like born into, you know, this community and in that same way. And so finding external communities and support systems for being queer is so essential. Sometimes that can come from your, you know, biological family, but to find your queer family and to connect with that, like it's a really interesting affinity group in that way, where it is like, you know, it's not going to be, I'm going to, you know, live in an area where there's lots of queer people, you know, I mean, you might, but you're not going to be, you know, it's not in the same way that like various other identities sometimes, you know, connect in. And so I think having programs like the pen pal system, you know, where how essential, we talk about like essential, like to have that sort of community in that way is so important.
Absolutely.
You know, to have that, you know, in these programs and these facilities. So it just was really, I just keep like, it is really so incredible to provide those. And whatever, I liked what you had said, like whatever that looks like for people, you know, without sort of putting our own idea of like, what is success look like, you know, what is doing well look like, you know. I think we have very typical ideas sometimes of what that can be. And that could be something for, you know, without putting that on there, you know, from our perspective of it. So
absolutely.
yeah. Anyway, it's just amazing. I'm like I'm like, I'll have to figure out too. I would love to do, you know, to sign up to do pen pal stuff, you know. And I'm like, I'm going to be spending the rest of my evening as well being like, okay, what next? What do we do?
What a thing. Yeah, you know, and I think we're always looking for you know, fun ways to be able to, you know, raise awareness and reach different folks that may not have heard about. That's why I was excited about this platform is, you know, I'm able to connect with people that may not have naturally come across our website to hear about Black and Pink. And so it's always really exciting to just be able to connect in different ways or fun little initiatives to be able to celebrate the work that we do. It doesn't always have to feel dark because, you know, we serve people and people are people. And so there's a point of celebration in that too, and really allowing folks to just celebrate themselves. So yeah, I love that. And that's the exact thing that, you know, my role is a part of, is just connecting with people that want to, you know, do fun, exciting ventures. So let me know.
And it's one of these things, like when you were talking about like where some of these funds and things go, when you're talking about like, I need something for a job interview, you know, a lot of times I think people, when charity fundraising, and the reason I like doing this Twitch stuff is because it's like, okay, you raised $20, you know, that $20, there you go. There's an interview outfit for somebody. And now somebody can go to a job interview looking, you know, wearing, you know, job interview clothing. And if that helps them get the job, like that impact of being able for me, like as a creator, to sit here and raise a little bit of money, like that is amazing to have that. And the way that that impacts, obviously large amounts, great, you know, but I think people are afraid to fundraise because there's this expectation, like if I don't raise $100,000, you know, I haven't made an impact, you know. And I don't know, it was just like when you were explaining some of that, like I was like, those are like very tangible, like ways that like it helps, you know. And to be able to, you know, again, you find 100 creators who are going to be raising money for that, you know, like that's awesome, you know, like ways like that. So that's why I'm really glad that it's a part of, you know, Unified for Pride as well, to have that platform to boost it.
And one of our, you know, strongest fundraising efforts as an organization is really just connecting with community and having community really help support their own. And so exactly what you're saying, like $20 can help with public transportation, can help with stuff for a job interview, can help get some food for the house. And so, we always tell people like whatever the amount is, right? Like if you have $5 extra that you're like, I can give, then we'd love it. We have one of the heaviest things for me that I am always trying to like figure out how to process emotionally is we have inside members that will send us like $1.50 of their check of they're making cents an hour inside. And then because our mission is so important to them and they're so thankful and appreciative about what we do, that they're sending us $1.50 that they worked hours to even be able to earn. And my first thought is like,
make me cry. That's really
like
amazing.
but like like I don't want to take that from them, but also for them it's such an important like gesture of like, we're thankful and appreciative that you're here. And so that's what I often tell people is that if inside members are willing and able to even provide something like that, then we often can find ways to show our support and solidarity for them as well, and especially when they come back into our communities. And so I always think that that's whatever people can give is what I say, just that's fine, do what you do. So
Every
Very
gift
powerful.
gives.
I'm very impacted by that right now.
I know, like maybe
Yeah.
I was like, don't cry. You have makeup on. You can't do it. Don't do
so
it.
is that moment when you turn off the camera and you're like,
Mhm.
I'm like,
but yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It is heavy. And for me though, it's also like so celebratory and a reminder for me of like why I do the work. Like I can work a little extra harder, knowing that even our inside members are supporting our work and supporting our organization.
Yes, I just want to stress that every gift gives, and every gift is $1. Awareness is a
Yes.
gift. Word of mouth
Yes.
is a gift. All of it makes a huge difference for these organizations. And thank you so much for touching on that, Andrew. That is beautiful. And I'm very emotional, so I'm not going to cry. I'm a Libra, so very, very dramatic. So hold those back. And I got on my lashes too, so I don't want those to fall off. But no, seriously, thank you so much, Andrew and Lucille, for joining me. So appreciative. And yeah, Unify for
Yeah.
Pride event is going on, and you can support Black and Pink today. It takes about 5 minutes to set up a fundraiser. So if you
Mhm.
want to support Black and Pink, you can go to unifiedforpride.org. And of course, outside of Unified for Pride, you can support them 24/7 on our Tiltify platform. And I just wanted to check in with chat if we had any questions before we wrap up at all.
I know. I was like, we got to chat too. We got to figure out. I'm gonna like, great. What am I gonna do? Fundraising. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Lucille was just in my DMs the other day being like, what's our next show? What's our next show?
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
hello.
I love it.
Don't tell people I messaged you. I have a reputation I've got to keep up,
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, who are you again?
Reputation's important. I don't know you.
Right? We have peeps in chat saying, just want to say thanks for this. It was great for a lurk and listen. So thank you. I hope you all
Lurk and
enjoyed.
listen,
It was
yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
Another person in chat, yes, it was so lovely to listen. Oh,
Yeah.
my little heart. It's so filled with love. Rainbow love. So I want to close out. Lucille, please tell us how we can find you on socials and all platforms you're on.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Lucillexoxo. Don't forget that, it's right here in case you can't spell it. And I stream, my standard schedule is Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a lot of things there. You can also catch me on Twitter, a lot of hot takes and memes there. I don't know if follow me there. But if you feel like it, it's Lucillexoxo. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Lucillexoxo. You can follow me on Venmo. It's Lucillexoxo. Yeah, you can find it there. We do regular drag shows. So keep in touch. I always post about it on Twitter and things like that. So stay tuned for those. I have one coming up end of the month. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I think that's all the places you can find me. You can also just scream out the window, yell my name. You'll hear me. You'll probably hear me out the window. So
Thank you so much, Lucille. And Andrew, you work directly with the community of Black and Pink. I'm sure many people will be in contact with you or working with you. So thank you for all you do, Andrew. We are so appreciative again for you talking with us and giving us the good word that we needed. We have so many motivated people here in chat. We have a person in chat. Thank you so much. I'm signing up to be a pen pal right now. This was so wonderful and empowering. Thanks for sharing the inspiration. And thank you. All right, we are all set, my dears. We have no more questions in chat and are ready to sign off.
Yes. Thank you.
Any last words from either of you?
I just want to say thank you to you all for having us, and thank you to Lucille for partnering with this and helping spread the word. I'm definitely gonna be looking you up. So
yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll be pen pals too. We'll figure that out.
Yes.
We correspond about drag shows on typewritten handwritten notes.
Waiting for drag brunch.
Yeah, drag brunch. Yes. I'll fly you in. Drag brunch. You'll be there. I'll give you as many mimosas as you need. Constant.
Mimosas.
Yeah, listen.
Hold on.
Mimosas. Sangria. It's so funny. And when we're at these drag brunches too, I get so many drinks and things. I'm just always like, if my friends are there, I'm just like, please take these. Like, please take these 12 mimosas that I've just found. You have to take them.
Perfect.
Yes, but thank you so much as well.
Yes.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for, creating and having this platform that really makes it easy to do stuff. I've set up fundraisers, I don't know, various things will happen. I'm like, I'm fundraising tonight because I'm mad, and to be able to be frantically typing on, Tiltify to try and find something. But it takes truly it takes a few minutes to set up. And it's I am so thankful, that you are doing this, that you're highlighting, creators, organizations, things like this. And that you are doing something that truly it makes it so easy to be able to do this. And that's huge to have that as a resource, as a streamer, as a content creator, to take 2 seconds and raise some money. We're here, we're visible, people are watching us, we might as well do something with it, So
great tutorial video. Ashley has a great tutorial video on how to set that all up. So
easy peasy. Listen, if I can do it, anybody else can set. Truly if I can do it. I didn't even know how to mute my mic the other day. So if I can figure it out and get it on screen. Oh wow.
She said, oh, wow.
You are incredible, Lucille.
Incredibly.
Thank you for being a part of our community. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Seriously. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, thank you. We are all done. Thank you, y'all. Have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday and stay hydrated. Okay, stay hydrated.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.